Will we get a recession in 2025? Will it stop Trump's economic restoration? Last week, Donald Trump warned there could be a recession this year, adding, quote, no pain, no gain. Now, the odds were already stacked thanks to Joe Biden, who put us either in recession or right on the edge. 2025 recession odds were nearly 50-50 before the election. They came down into the 20s with Trump's win, but are now back in the 40s. The main reason being federal layoffs and spending cuts that were bigger than markets expected, so both reduced GDP on paper, along with institutional investors selling out of risk assets and actual investment on hold to wait and see on tariffs. In recent videos, I've mentioned that both federal spending cuts and mass deportation cut GDP on paper since GDP counts spending, not output, when it is the government. Of course, Trump's also pushing tax cuts and deregulation that grow the economy and bring companies home. In an interview with Maria Bartiromo over the weekend, Trump leaned into it, warning there could be a, quote, period of transition and disruption as we, quote, build a foundation for the future. Treasury Secretary Bessent also warned of, quote, disruption as the economy, quote, detoxes from government spending. So what happens if we do get a recession? Going by no pain, no gain, Trump will stay the course, cutting spending, cutting red tape, cutting taxes, while continuing the mass deportations and tariffs. The question is political pressure on Congress. So historically, Washington's recession playbook is massive spending, historically $2 trillion plus in additional spending. That would take us to a $4 trillion deficit if cackles had won. Now, going by COVID, Trump does like his stimmies. They bear his signature after all. And the Fed will yank down interest rates, even if Jerome Powell hates Trump. Both drive inflation, but if they're happening specifically because of a federal spending recession, it is exactly paying for a lot of gain. Of course, Congress could gobble up DOGE cuts with brand new spending, but in that case, the recession is canceled. We go back to Biden style buying the GDP. The bigger question is, what should we do if there's a recession? In short, absolutely nothing. Purge the zombies, the federal waste, and the private malinvestment, fart coin and all. Economist Murray Rothbard has a great metaphor for this. If locusts come every 7 years, you get a crash in locust jobs the year after. So should you pay them to sit around for 6 years? Should the Fed yank rates to artificially stimulate everything else? There's a great book on this, The Forgotten Depression by James Graham, describing the 1920 recession when we actually did do absolutely nothing. It was just over a year of pain, followed by a golden decade, the Roaring '20s. We did it again in 1946 when we demobilized 11 million soldiers, the mother of federal spending recessions. Again, a short recession, then a decade of boom we call the 1950s. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. If we get a recession, it'll be the healthiest recession in a century. Legacy media will pin it on Trump. Chaos is apparently the mothership-approved term. But if he stays the course with stimmies at worst, we could be looking at a golden decade on the other side. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.